Okay, so now we are on the second part of this module in the second video, actually third video. Our first video is the video on the assessment report expectations, and then you saw part one of testing considerations, and now we're on testing considerations part two. So using this movie and the PowerPoint, you're going to be able to continue on with the questions. So let's just take a look at where we are. So by using the Chapius article, you were able to answer numbers 1 and 2 of your activity 2. Using the book, the video, and your own experience, you can answer number 3. And now we're on number 4, so let's get to it. So here's the PowerPoint. Let's just open this up. And, the big thing with ethics in assessment is that everything needs to be done with fidelity. That's how the assessment measures were created and how they were normed, and that's how you can tell, no matter who the assessor is or who the student is, where that student falls when compared to others. Also, I've asked you to get some sort of family consent and involvement letter. So I have actually created that. You can see it at the bottom here. And it's the family parent student acknowledgement letter. And it's right here. But this just gives my information and my cell phone number and email. So if they have any questions about what it is that you'll be doing, then they can contact me as well. And then you've also let them know that you're completing this for a course. So that actually falls along with the ethics of letting somebody know if you're actually assessing them. Using non-discriminatory assessments, the normed reference assessments were designed to decrease the amount of discriminatory issues, and that's one of the reasons why we use those. Using data to make decisions, write goals, and monitor. So if you actually have something that demonstrates how well the student's doing, what their goals are and how you'll keep track of those goals, that's actually an ethical issue. So as a special educator, we can make that bigger. That is a huge part of what we do on a daily basis. Confidentiality. That's one of the reasons I'm not asking for those letters, but students need to feel safe with you, and so really keeping their records, their results, and everything confidential is really important. Using multiple measures, so not just using one test and deciding, hey, this is how that student is, but rather using multiple ways of looking at that student more holistically. So, interviewing parents and the student and teachers, current and past, will give you a better idea of the student. Administering different types of tests to make sure that the results actually agree with each other. Using student samples and classroom observations. All of these things will help you understand who that student is. And then explaining why the student did well or didn't do well in relation to their academics and behavioral issues, emotional stuff, and also using technology. A lot of times we go to the computer and we just need to be very cognizant of how we're using our technology, and downloading a test online is one thing, but making sure that it really is demonstrating or useful in measuring what it is that you want from the student is important. So here we go into the steps in administration prep. So I mentioned before, it's really important we reread test manual instructions, prompts, and scoring rules. We practice administration prior to the test. We set the tone. We have all the materials, the clipboards there and ready so that we can write down the strengths, areas of growth, and specific examples that support. And yes, I do know that I've shown you this slide before. I just really want to make sure that we get it into our heads, that there's a lot to do before we even start administering. Making sure that we have all of our materials, so the pencils with and without erasers, a timer, most of us have those on our phone, a digital tape recorder, a lot of us can have those on our phone as well. Some of these tests are pretty old school and actually do need a CD player, so make sure that there is one in your classroom or that you have a computer that can actually play CDs. Scratch paper, some tests allow scratch paper, others don't. That you've reviewed the record book so that you are able to do this seamlessly for your student. And then also make notes on the starting point. So I always write the date, the time, and then if there's any sort of interruption, then I'll put the date and time and what type of interruption happened. And then also make sure to organize the testing environment. You know, all of us take environment seriously. So if we're in a loud place, or if there's a whole lot of stuff where we can't actually, like, it's not clean or it smells funny, all of these things can affect our ability to pay attention. So now we're going to get into the Brigance, whoops, sorry. Go back up. And actually, I have the Brigance 3 here. She should just say Brigance, because there's the Brigance 3, which is the developmental. That's the yellow one. And that's for birth to 7 years old. This isn't an IQ test, but it allows you to see where that child's performance is compared to other children who took that test. The other one is the CIBS 2. This is the readiness. And this is the green Brigance test. It's for pre-K to 8th grade skill level. It's criterion referenced. There's monitoring books. And this is really was designed to help teachers come up with goals that looked at present levels of achievement and function. And also it's often used to assess effective diagnosis and instructional planning, to help teachers develop goals and objectives and monitor progress for students. It's a support for the alternative performance assessment that some students take, and it looks at reading and mathematics. So as I mentioned, so here's the yellow one, here's the green one. In Overton, you should all have your books by now. Or if you don't, then please contact one of your fellow students in the class, and if you need help with that, then let me know and I will help you. But I'd like you to read page 126 to 128 and 254 to 255 in the Overton book, and it goes through and talks about the Brigance test, and it's a really helpful thing. The other thing I want you to do is go through, and the Brigance actually has training modules online. So as you go here, it's actually going to, when you first get to this website, it's going to ask you for your name and your school and your zip code, I think it is, and that will allow you into the system. Once you're in there, then they just want to see who's actually accessing these training materials. But once you're in there, then you can go through and you can see here's all the different Brigance assessments. And like I mentioned before, the two that we look at in this class is the IED Early Development and the Comprehensive Inventory of Basic Skills. So if you're working with kids who might be nonverbal, or they are below the age 7 in their skills, this is more functional. So I want you to go through and watch all 3 of these module videos. So I'm just going to click on this. You can see it comes up.
Hello, and welcome to Curriculum Associates.
And we don't have to listen to that whole thing, but you can see that it's 14 minutes altogether and 34 seconds, and then there's another one and another one. If you've got students who are a little bit higher, so they're in between, and let's just go back to our, let's see if we can get there. Go back to our PowerPoint, and the pre-K to 8th grade. So if your student is pre-K to 8th grade, then you might want to use the Comprehensive Inventory of Basic Skills. So once again, oops, let's go back. Oh, where did I go? Here we go, the CIBS. So you can see that there's all 5 of these modules. You can see this has got a little bit more to it, but I want you to watch all 5 of these videos. So anyone who's not working with someone who's under the kindergarten level, please finish this. And I assume that that's probably most of you in this class. I want you to go through and watch all 5 of these assessment videos. And so that you can get to know a little bit more about the Brigance. And all of the stuff that's in here will be able to hopefully see and work with the Brigance next week. So let's go back here. And like I said, you only have to do one or the other. So this is age 7. Oh, and this should say, whoops. And this is pre-K to 8th grade. So just choose one or the other. You do not need to do both. Okay. All right. So, and as I showed you before, we have the assessment letter. Let me just make this small again. That I created for you, and this is what it looks like. And it is down at the, here's the course. It's down here at the bottom, a family, parent, student acknowledgement letter. And I'm not asking for you to turn them in, but I do want people to have my contact information so that they know that you're being supported. So let's go back here real quick. You can see that now you've had an opportunity to answer the question, how can you ensure you're being ethical in administration of assessment? You should be able to answer the question on activity 2 about writing a sentence or two about the Brigance early development and the Brigance readiness activities. What assessments are they? Are they criterion, normed, or curriculum based? What do they measure? And what level or ability are they normed? And how do you administer it? So you're going to go through, and you should get all of that information from the videos and from your book. Then you're going to write draft 2 of your assessment report. So now you've hopefully gotten some feedback. And so you can see here's the assessment report with all the different areas, and you're going to make sure to include all these pieces from your template. And then you can see the student history, and I've got an example here of the student history of, this is what Harold's, experience has been like in schools and everything. So you should be able to do your second draft of the assessment report now that you've had more time to do things like interview and review the records. This is just the signed permission, and then the feedback for this week is, now that you've read the text, watched the support movies, and thought about the student that you'll be using for your assessment, how are you feeling about assessing a student using the Brigance assessments? And what can I do to support you at this time? And then the last assignment is the interview that you're going to be doing with a special education professional about assessment. So this person could be a special education teacher who has a clear credential and has been working in the field for at least 4 years. It could be a special ed district administrator or a school psychologist working with special education assessment. If you do not have someone, please reach out to me. I have so many contacts that are really excited about being interviewed. And I've come up with the 4 questions that you're going to ask them. And you can just type in their answers into activity 2, and that's how you'll get your points. So let's just go to what's next. You will be reading chapters 2 and 3 of Overton. You're going to do activity 2. Remember to include information from class. These are these videos, the readings, and your personal experience. I want you to practice the RAT and or the Brigance if you have access to it. I want you to get approval, and remember, you don't have to submit that to me. It's just legally you're responsible to get approval before administering the Woodcock-Johnson 4 or the Wyatt 3. Have the parents or students sign the acknowledgement letter. Once again, you do not need to submit this to me. It's just for your records. So if you have any questions, please let me know, and good luck. I am always here via email or anything else. Have a great week.